'cause I am the queen.
Hey guys, welcome back to another book rant video, and today we're going to be talking about The Last Wolf by Maria Vale. When I picked up this book, honestly, I didn't know what it was. I knew it was about wolves. I liked wolves, so I went with it. But I didn't know if it was like a shifter book or if it was like another book I read where the characters were literal four-legged wolves in the woods, like living in the mountains, where like you had their point of view, their perspective, things like that. It's kind of both in a way. So you have like normal wolves where it's like actual four-legged all the time wolves like the ones we have, and then you have pack wolves who have like a skin. When they're in skin, that means they're in their human form. That's like they're in that most of the time, but for 3 days during the full moon they're wild, which means they're in their wolf form and they have no choice. They have to. It's kind of like werewolves, but they're in like a wolf form. And then you have shifters who don't have to change if they don't want to. They can, they don't have to. The full moon does not matter to them. Things like that. Well, this one is about a pack wolf named Silver, who is kind of the runt of her pack. She's the lowest. She, I think, is disformed a little bit, something with her leg that she can't really use it too well. So she's not the best hunter. And of course, you know, wolves, you kind of have to hunt. And if it wasn't for like the alpha, she probably would have been like kicked out a long time ago, but he wants to kind of give her a shot. But it's coming to a point where she can't stay and they're having to figure some things out and like, what are we going to do with her? Well, comes in Tobias. He's injured. He's running. He needs help. He's a shifter. So which means he doesn't have to change if he doesn't want to. And no one likes him. The pack wolves do not like shifters because for centuries they've been trying to protect themselves from humans encroaching on their land, trying to push them out. The book starts in the 1600s when humans are starting to really build and they're migrating to America to try to get away from it, trying to get land, basically. They're trying to survive because humans are starting to build guns and they don't want to die. That's basically the main thing. It's survival. They're losing their land and places to go, and like their safety's being in jeopardy. Well, they don't like shifters because shifters have been giving up their human forms, not their human forms, giving up their wolf side recently and just living amongst the humans. They're just staying amongst the humans, living that full time, not acknowledging like their wolf form that much. And then I honestly think it's jealousy, because since they don't have to shift during like the full moon for 3 days, they don't have to be in the wolf form. I think they're jealous and think, oh, because you don't have to form, you don't have to change, you're not a wolf, you're not as good, like you think you're better. I mean, it's not their fault. I'd rather be a shifter because I don't want to change, because the whole Iron Moon thing where they forcing them to shift was causing some issues. It was causing some issues because they didn't have a choice. Like, they would change even if they tried to resist it. Like, they did not have a single choice. And some of the pack wolves had to go work in the human like areas and like in their towns and things like that to make money, and so that they could keep their land private. They owned their land. They had to like go work, and it caused issues because like on the new moon, sometimes it was hard for them to get back. They have to be gone for 3 days every month. Can't really do that. Can't really just. It doesn't always work. It's whenever the full moon, whenever she shows her face, and it causes some issues. But that's not completely what this book is about. Tobias is a shifter. and he needs help. And it's basically their fates kind of intertwine. Um, they're put together, and it's basically prove yourself to the pack, and you can stay, or you both have to leave. Anyway, Tobias, as he's healing, she has to like kind of heal him first, but she has to try to explain to him how pack life works, because it is very. I got kind of confused on some points because it switches from first to third person, because it also switches from past tense to present tense, so they switch point of views as they're switching, like, timeline wise. So something's got a little confusing, especially for me, because they used terminology, because they had a different language at first. The wolves had like an old tongue, their own language, before migrating to America. They kind of just switched and adapted to just speaking English, which Silver kind of disagrees with. Um, she doesn't she doesn't completely like that they're giving up. They gave up a lot of things to kind of progress with time. Like, they don't do things as they did back in the 1600s. That's what the book starts there. It starts 1600s when they migrate. They don't do things as they used to. They changed because the present tense is set in the 21st century. And she wishes that they didn't give up as much as they did, that they still spoke their original language, that they still did certain things that they used to, which, I mean, she gets over it. I mean, she does, like, try to integrate it herself a little bit with what she does, but she gets over it. She kind of just sucks it up and does what she's told at this point. But Tobias kind of learns, he's never shifted before. I think he did maybe once, but she has to kind of help him learn to change into his wolf, as when they're wild, he has to be wild too, even though he doesn't have to. They make him like, you're gonna be in your wolf form, because when they're in their wolf form, they're most vulnerable to being attacked by humans and being killed. So they're like, we don't trust you to stay in your human form. You're gonna be in wolf form with the rest of us. Cool. So he learns that, and he learns how things kind of work, because they have their own policies, their own hierarchy, traditions, how things work. And you kind of learn they do fall in love later, like towards, I want to say like middle to end. It's not like a big, on lasting, like super romantic type thing. They kind of just have their little snippets and moments, because they are having to live together, so they get to know each other. So there's like a little bit of romance, there's action, there's drama. They have some people who some humans who are upset that they won't sell their land. They don't let anybody on their land. But he wants their land, and he doesn't really like them. So then I have these humans to deal with, but they're essentially hiding. Like, no one knows they exist. No one knows what they are, because they can't. I mean, they would be killed if they did. So you learn kind of there's that situation. There's a whole fight and war that kind of breaks out. Some people do die. I mean, that's kind of what happens. And you learn Tobias, he kind of lied to them. Well, not kind of, he did lie to them, but it wasn't completely his fault. You find out Tobias is technically half shifter, half pack wolf, I believe, or half him. He's a shifter, but his mother was a pack wolf, so it's complicated, because he didn't tell them that. He also, because his mother was like head of this really important pack, like he's kind of, was his mother the pack wolf? I read this book a while ago, so I kind of refreshed my memory, but some of it's a little bit slipping. Either way, he's like the heir of a relationship that kind of shouldn't have happened in their opinion. And they were a little bit upset because his father was kind of forcing him to do some things that he didn't want to do. Him ending up in that pack wasn't exactly an accident. I don't remember what it was that his goal was. But I mean, he was injured and he kind of was running because his father didn't fully like him either. But it just wasn't a complete accident. He ended up in that pack because I believe that was his mother's pack. That Silver's pack was his mother's pack back in the day. And he went back there. And I guess they were still upset that he still lied. And they kind of blamed him for some stuff. But Silver had his back because, I mean, he learned he's, like, not there to hurt them. And, you know, it ends up good in the end. It does. I mean, it was an interesting book. I mean, I enjoyed it. Once I got past some of the things that, like, I didn't fully understand what they were saying because some of the words I didn't know, because she often referred to things in their old language. I don't know what that language was. They just call it the old tongue. So once I kind of got past that and kind of more understood what she was talking about, it was a good story. There was some, you know, there was some drama. I liked seeing Tiberius, is that how you say his name? Tiberius is how you say his name. I don't know why I'm calling him Tobias. Tiberius and Silver, I like seeing their relationship because they kind of helped each other over past their, like, deformities, basically. Like, she was considered a runt and defective, and he kind of helped her overcome that and, like, prove that she is just as, like, worthy, which is what the pack was, what was their concern about, because they thought they believed she would hold them back and, like, cause issues, which is normal. I mean, in a normal wolf pack, sometimes, like, the one that's gonna get you killed, you might have to leave behind. Sometimes you don't, sometimes you do, but it just depends. At least that's what I don't know, that's what it seemed like. Yeah, if you're not worthy, if you're not worthy, I don't know why I'm saying worthy. If you're not useful, basically, in there to them, that's how they saw it as. Everyone has to have, like, a purpose. She didn't have a mate. She couldn't find a mate. It was kind of, well, why are you here? Why are we keeping you around? Like, that's how they saw her as. And Tiberius, he was treated as worthless and couldn't fully be himself his entire life. And she kind of helped him understand who he really is and how to embrace what he really is. Because his father wouldn't let him shift. Because being part pack wolf, he had the urge to shift during the full moon. His father wouldn't let him. So he kind of felt suppressed with that. But, you know, like I said, it worked out in the end. The battle did subside. The good guys won, or whoever you consider the good guys. Things worked out. Silver and Tiberius, they ended up being full mates. Like, there's a whole ritual on. But either way, it was a good book. I liked it. It is part of a series. There's 2 more. I have not read those 2, so I'm not going to talk about them. You don't have to, I think. It's about, the other 2 I have read, like, the biographies of them, because I looked them up. It's about 2 of the other characters that you have met in the book. Well, one of them's about one character. The third book's about a different character, and that you've met in the first one, and that's about them. I'm pretty sure they're standalones. I don't think you have to read them, like, in order. Because, again, I ain't read the other 2, so I don't know. Don't take my word for it. I'm just letting you know this is the first one. Even though it being called The Last Wolf, it can be confusing. But I looked it up. But when I found it, well, after I read it, I looked it up. And yes, it is the first one. So, That's it for today. I hope you enjoyed that book rant. Again, recommendations always appreciated. And I will see you lovely people next time.